to hear and to study this for many months. But and relevant parts of Srila Gurudev's books and Srila Prabhupada's books to prepare us for hearing and trying to enter the moods that Raghunath Das Goswami Pad is expressing in Manasutra. What are the books that we've studied? Bhakti Tattva Viveka. What else?
Jagannath. Last year, this time we read Jagannath. I forgot his name, but about Hayatra.
Jagannath Rath Yatra. Okay. But more recently, that's a whole year ago. What else have we been reading? Rag Vartmachanka. Some. Yeah. What else did we read? Yes, Navadvita Mahatmya. Gaur Purnima time, we read that. What else did we read? Last year, we read the 4th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela chapter 4. Because that, without reading and understanding that, no one can understand. Karanga, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at
the books. Yeah. So, and another thing that I read, this is like a year ago when my godbrother Rishabdev Prabhu was here. We also read the Venu Geet introduction, Srila Narayan Maharaj's all-time classic introduction to the Venu Geet. We read that. We also didn't completely read, but we did an overview discussion of Upadeshamrita, Sri Upadeshamrita. Yeah, when I was in America, I read that. But before I read that in America, do you know what I read? Verses of Upadeshamrita that are telling the 6 favorable things for bhakti and the 6 unfavorable things. That's called verses 2 and 3. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpa niyamagraha janasangascha lalyamcha shadbir bhakti vinashyati. Then the next one is the favorable. Utsahan nishchayat dharyat tat karma pravartanat sangatyaga sato vritte sadbir bhakti prasidhyati. And that is included in our current update of the Upadeshamrita, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj's version. And those are 12 essays written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one essay for each one of these items. Very, very deep and in-depth study. That I was reading in Badger when I was there. At the end, in the final 2 months, that's when I read Vilapa Kushamanjali. But that was, of course, not possible to finish the whole thing, but we finished about half of it. and then on one day we read the other half, just the verses. And when I came back 2 years ago from America, when I returned here from America, and I began to give classes in our Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir. I did that for 3 months, maybe 4 months, I don't remember. You remember? In Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir. And so also using Zoom calls rather than what we're doing now. But what did we read at that time?
I remember Lord Maharaj.
We did later, but the main topic.
Some chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad
Like
Gita?
about Katha lecture. Like about 3 or 4 lectures about.
Lectures
Yeah.
on the Bhagavad Gita?
Yes.
By who?
You give the lecture, like, I don't remember which chapter, but we start. We did it like 3 or 4 lectures.
Oh, yes, you're correct. Those were the 4 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. The 4 central verses of Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satata yuktanam, like that. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. And I think we also went to the end of the Bhagavad Gita where the verses are described. There's how Krishna is completing, how Krishna is finishing his conversation with Arjuna. And then he speaks the 2 verses, Sarvadharma Parityajya, Padmanabha half months at least. Every day I was giving class on one of the books of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Which book? Huh? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. You completely forgot. Yes. No, of course not. We were not intending to finish. We were just going through as much as we could cover. That's all. And that was up until Gaur Purnima. Oh wait. No, not Gaur Purnima. I forget now. Because it was after when I started to give classes again after returning from America. Anyway, I'm mentioning all this because there's a certain direction. There's a certain direction in which I wanted to make everyone aware of the essential foundational toward the essence. So Ragvartma Chandrika is about as close as you can get. It's about as close as you can get. Ragvartma Chandrika to completely approaching what is the ultimate attainment in the Gaudiya Sampradaya under Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, under 6 Goswamis and so forth. Ragvartma Chandrika is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's introduction and explanation of what is Rag. What is the pathway of spontaneous devotion to Krishna? Spontaneous devotion, Rag. Not Vaidhi. Not Vaidhi. What is Ragvartma? The pathway of Rag. So that small book, Rag Vartma Chandrika, we read the whole thing from cover to cover when Rishabdev Prabhu was here.
He left.
Who? Of course he left. Have you seen him?
Yeah, last time he was.
Huh? Last what?
Last time he was there.
Last time what? Last class. Rishabdev. Bobhadev has not mutual understanding, and that's all. Rishabdev Prabhu is the father of Madhukar, and his wife's name is Nishchintya. So they were here for about 5 months. And because they're senior, then I could speak on these topics. And same in Badger. He was there at all of my classes for 2 entire years. He came to every class. Whenever he was in Badger, he would be there for the classes. And same here. So we studied the Rag Vartma Chandrika. This is what I'm trying to say. And that's the last book that we actually studied up until now. Siksha. Because you have to have the proper foundation. And Bhakti Tattva Viveka is extraordinary. That if we want to enter into Shuddha Bhakti, then we have to understand Bhakti Tattva Viveka. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has given that. And without entering into Shuddha Bhakti, can we enter into Raganuga Bhakti? Is it possible to enter into Rag, Marg Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti without entering first Shuddha Bhakti? It's not possible. Did you learn that by our lessons, by our study of Bhakti Tattva Viveka? That it's impossible to enter into Shuddha Bhakti, to enter into Raga Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, without first entering into Shuddha Bhakti. And so, but what is Shuddha Bhakti? We just studied that. For a number of weeks, we studied this Bhakti Tattva. What is Shuddha Bhakti? What are the symptoms of Shuddha Bhakti, etc.? How to enter into pure Bhakti. So, Uttama Bhakti, pure Bhakti. Now, we should know where we stand. That's one thing we should know. Where is our current, present position? Where do we stand? Are we practicing Raganuga Bhakti? Is that our present position? That we are sadhaks of Raganuga Bhakti? He says no.
I think we practice Vaidhi Bhakti almost.
We're practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, but the question is, are we practicing Raganuga Bhakti?
Radha Krishna and so on. Because this greed very important for us. How we can develop this greed? It's only hearing pastimes of Radha Krishna. Pastimes.
Hearing from who?
From Rasika Vaishnava.
Yes. But at the same time, do we have to practice Vaidhi Bhakti?
If concern me, I practice Vaidhi Bhakti, but I understand my purpose. It's Raganuga Bhakti.
You understand what?
I understand my goal is Raghunatha Bhakti. But external, I do Vaidhi Bhakti, but inside my heart, I have desire to practice.
Okay, then the next question is, if a person has attained greed, lobha, and that's the qualification for practicing Ragamarg Bhakti. So, will that devotee be practicing simultaneously the limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti? The regulated practice of Shuddha Bhakti? Hearing, chanting, remembering, doing all? Will that devotee be practicing Vaidhi Bhakti? Who has attained lobha? The devotee who has already attained lobha, greed. Will he be practicing Vaidhi Bhakti?
Shravana Kirtanam also he practices externally, but inside, internally he meditates Ashtakali village.
Not necessarily. He's not meditating. This is for somebody who has attained the stage of what? Asakti. Okay? But somebody can attain lobha and the beginning levels of lobha. Someone can begin to attain lobha, which is also known as ruchi, by the association of an exalted pure Vaishnava, and these moods can develop within the heart. But what does he do at the time when those moods develop in the heart? And his attraction to hear about, to remember, to worship Radha and Krishna with the gopis in their eternal Braj Leela pastimes. That is his desire now, because he has attained lobha. But will he be doing Vaidhi Bhakti? You have to understand that we just read Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhakti Tattva Viveka, and he very clearly explained this tattva, this Bhakti tattva. Very clearly he explained this. And he explained that there are many individuals who falsely, they try to imitate the symptoms of somebody who is feeling ecstatic emotions, crying tears, body trembling, everything. But they haven't even come higher or more advanced than the stage of what? They're not even out of anartha-nivritti stage. They have not yet even attained nishtha. But they imitate. This is the problem that we have with the prakrita sahajiyas. Prakrita sahajiyas. Why are they called prakrita? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told. Because they are on the external platform of lust and material desires. They're prakrita. But the reason why they're called sahajiya, do you know why? You know the meaning of this word, sahajiya? What does it mean? What is the definition of this word, sahajiya? But what is the meaning of the word sahaj? Sahajiya. Sahaj. What does that mean? What? Friend? No, sahaj. Not sakya, not saka. Sahaj. What's the meaning of the word sahaj? You don't know. Why are they called Sahajiya? Do you know that there's 13 different apasampradayas that Bhaktivinoda Thakur identified while he was on the planet? And then later on, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj identified 33. So more had sprouted up here and there. These are all different deviant sects of so-called Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But one of those sects is named Sahajiya. They call themselves Sahajiya. So what is the meaning of the word? You don't know. Now I'm telling you. Huh? No. 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 Sahaj. Sahaj means natural. Natural. Sahaj. It means, just like the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna, they naturally love Radha and Krishna. Okay? And in the material world, a mother and father, they love their children. In the material world, a man and a woman are naturally attracted. So natural means that it's inborn, it's within you. It's automatic. You cannot say spontaneous exactly, but something like that. Sahaj. So why are the Prakrita Sahajiyas, why are they identified by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur with that term, Prakrita? Because they themselves call themselves Sahajiyas. When we hear the word, we think, oh, this is very bad to be a Sahajiya. But they call themselves Sahajiya because they're going according to the literal meaning of the word Sahaj. And what they're trying to portray is they're trying to portray that they are following the pathway of natural devotion to Radha and Krishna. You understand? Do you understand? Do you understand? They're trying to follow the pathway of natural devotion. So they call themselves Sahajiya. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told that the real Sahajiya are the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna because they naturally love Radha and Krishna. Natural. That's called rag. Rag. They have natural rag for Radha and Krishna. So, that natural, spontaneous rag, that is a highly pure, transcendental phenomena. Very pure, very exalted, very worshipable, transcendental phenomena. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur called them what? What did he call them? Prakrita. Why? Why did he not call them Sahajiya? He said call them Prakrita Sahajiya.
Two means Prakrita, Aprakrita. Prakrita is more.
What? Two meanings, what?
Two words, Prakrita, Aprakrita. This word spiritual.
Yes, so Prakrita means what? Prakrita. This material world. So they call themselves Sahajiya, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, no, they are not actual Sahajiya, because Sahajiya means the associates of Radha and Krishna, who naturally love him, Sahaj. Sahaj. But Prakrita Sahajiya means what? Someone who's trying to outwardly imitate that. and proclaim, oh, we are naturally, we're Raganuga Bhaktas. We're natural, spontaneous devotion to Radha and Krishna. So therefore, we don't follow all these rules and regulations. Do you know that at Radha Kunda, the vast majority of the so-called devotees that live there, they are in this category, Prakrita Sahajya.
I have met them.
Yes, we've all met them.
When I lived 28
Okay.
days in Down.
So, but what I'm saying is that the majority, whether they're in an Indian body or even some of the Westerners who come, they are Prakrita Sahajiyas. Why? Because they have lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion. Their hearts have not been purified sufficiently, but they think that, oh, we love Krishna. We only want to hear Rasa Katha. We only want to hear Rasa Katha about Radha and Krishna. This is what they say, and they say, but we are on the Raganuga path. Therefore, we don't fast on Ekadasis, because we follow the activities of the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna. They're not fasting in Goloka Vrindavan, you see. We don't follow the regulative principles. This is the big one. This is the huge giveaway. Huge giveaway. In practically every single case where you have a bogus person who's presenting themselves as being elevated transcendentally, spiritually, all of this. We can read a whole list of names of such current individuals even. But in every single case, they have lust, and that lust comes out in the form of what? Illicit sex. Okay? So-called gurus, so-called acharyas, so-called whatever. Even if they're not portraying themselves as guru or acharya, which most are not, but they're presenting themselves. Oh, we are spontaneous, loving Radha and Krishna. We're on Raganuga path. We don't have to study Bhagavad Gita. We don't have to study all of the 9 cantos. We only want to hear Krishna's pastimes with Radha and Krishna. You understand? They're called Prakrita Sahajya. And you know what happens? They don't make advancements. They actually fall down. They become even more fallen because they're committing many aparads and offenses, especially being at Radha Kunda and especially being there associated with so many others. They do illicit activity. So why did we study Bhakti Tattva Viveka? So that we understand what is real bhakti. What is real, actual bhakti? Not imitation bhakti. Not completely perverted forms of bhakti. No one has ever, no one ever will enter into the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna by imitation. By imitating and trying to convince other people, oh, I'm spontaneous. Not one single jiva has ever entered there. Not one. So, the reason why I've studied, I was reviewing all the books that I've been studying in the class for the whole last year. And even before that, for the last 2 years, since I returned back from America, you see. But there's a sequence that we've studied and we've tried to imbibe it within our hearts. And we studied Rag Vartma Chandrika, which is the prelude. If you want to study Manasiksha, then you have to understand what is Rag Marg, Bhakti. So actually, we are not qualified, really, to study the Manasiksha. Why? because we don't have the necessary attraction. We are still attracted to the material objects in this world. Therefore, what we require to do is to follow the path of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, continuing to do that, continuing to pray for mercy from our acharyas, from Nityananda Prabhu, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from his associates. This is what is required, to purify our heart. And then we can read, we can try to understand what are the moods of our highest acharya, Raghunath Das Goswami. He's teaching us how to execute the pathway of Shuddha Bhakti in the pathway of Rag Anuga, and how to deal with the mind. Because without dealing with the mind, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, do you know that Krishna says the mind can become your greatest friend, and also the mind can become your greatest enemy. So how to control the mind, and especially in the pathway of Rag Anuga Bhakti, must be controlled. We must deal, he points out very clearly in the Manasiksha, who are the enemies? Who are the enemies that have to be conquered over? Yes. So anyway, I just wanted to give that little bit of a intro. We'll just chant a short, a very short kirtan for a few minutes. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Sparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Shri Nityananda Mahajana Ki Jai, Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai, Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka, Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jai Nanta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande. Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavajannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Krishe Namah. Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayame Kalo Kalamashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha. Ajanulambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Samkirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavatara Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vrindai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Ashtatarashata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Ashtatarasata Sri Shiva Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Ashtatarasata Sri Shiva Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat Pranams at the lotus feet of all my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, especially at the lotus feet of Sri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Sri Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Pad, our Prayojan Tattva Acharya, as we are about to study this book, Manasiksha, presented to the Western world in the English language from Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, with the extended purports of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur for each of the verses of the Manasiksha. So we're going to read the preface of this book. My Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavas. So here's the preface, which is translated from Srila Gurudev's Hindi edition. He is telling, actually this was presented by him in Hindi on 13th of July, 1984, in Guru Purnima. So where were we in 1984? Oh, yeah. Yes, coming, Amazon, coming now. Okay, Hare Krishna. So, yes, so he presented the book way back in 1984. So now we're going to read his beautiful preface, which also includes a very, very short biographical sketch of Raghunath Das Goswami and then also of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He says that today, by the causeless mercy of the lotus feet of my most worshipable spiritual master, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, this edition of Sri Manasiksha, composed by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, the preeminent follower of Srila Rupa Goswami, is happily presented before the faithful readers. The commentary found in this edition is called Sri Bhajan Darpana Digdarshani Vritti, which means the purport that examines every point of the commentary, known as Bhajan Darpan. It is a translation along with expanded notes of the Bhajan Darpan commentary written by Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who in this modern age reinitiated the flow of the Ganges-like river of Bhakti, which had become practically invisible. Nothing there. Oh, okay. So, in other words, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote what is called his Bhajan Darpan commentary. What does Darpan mean? Mirror. Cheto Darpana Marjana. So Darpan means mirror. So he's calling his commentary Bhajan Darpan, which is what? Examining, like looking at a mirror, how is Raghunath Das Goswami examining his own mind in his bhajan. And by reading this, we also have to look at our own self and our own bhajan in comparison. So, now Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj has written his commentary, which comes after Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. And it's called Sri Bhajan Darpan Dig Darshani Vritti. What does that mean? That means this is giving the purport that examines every point of the commentary known as Bhajan Darpan. So this book contains a translation of the Bhajan Darpan commentary along with expanded notes. So that commentary written by Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is the modern age, who in the modern age reinitiated the flow of Ganges-like river of bhakti, which had become practically invisible. Yes. Now, Sri Manasiksha, written by Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, the eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is a collection of 11 verses that offer spiritual instruction to the mind. These verses are an excerpt from the book known as Sri Stavavali, which is a compilation of all of the author's prayers and his deep spiritual yearnings. So even the in that Stavavali, all of the author's prayers are compiled together in that book, Stavavali. So whatever we have received from Raghunath Das Goswami will be there in that book. Like Vilapa Kushamanjali, for example. That's there in Sri Stavavali. Now, in a very concise manner, Sri Das Goswami has surcharged these 11 verses of Manasiksha. He has surcharged them with the essence of the teachings of Sri Gaur Sundar. Who is Sri Gaur Sundar? He is the prema-intoxicated embodiment of the combined forms of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And also, as well as those of his intimate associate, Sri Sarup Damodar, and also the Acharya of the profound science of devotional mellows, that is Sri Rupa Goswami. Now, in the Gaudiya devotional literatures, such as Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Siddhu, Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the 6 Sandarbhas, and the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in all of these, devotion has been classified in 3 divisions. This is what we studied in the Bhakti Tattva Viveka. So he's telling here that in all these literatures, there are 3 different divisions of bhakti, of devotion. And what are they? Sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prem bhakti. So sadhana bhakti, devotion in the practicing stage, it is further divided into 2 stages, which is what? Vaidhi and Raganuga. Vaidhi means devotion based upon scriptural injunction. And Raganuga means spontaneous devotion. Now, bhava bhakti that arises from Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, this is a point that we just studied in Bhakti Tattva Viveka. Because bhava bhakti can arise either from Vaidhi sadhana bhakti or it can arise from Raganuga sadhana bhakti. So here he's telling that bhava bhakti that arises from Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and the prem bhakti that arises from that bhava bhakti of that nature, they are predominated by Aishwarya Gyan, which means knowledge of the Lord's opulence and His majesty. But the bhav originating from Raganuga sadhana bhakti and the prem originating from that standard of bhav, it is predominated by what? Madhurya, sweetness, without the slightest trace of Aishwarya. Now, only by love that is predominated by such sweetness, devoid of any scent of formality or reverence, only by that love, that prem, can one obtain the loving service of the lotus feet of the eternally youthful divine couple Brajendra Nandan Sri Krishna and Vrishabhanu Nandani Shrimati Radhika. No other. The love that is predominated by awe and veneration, what does that type of love cause one to attain? It causes one to attain to Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha. So therefore, there is a very subtle yet significant difference between the quality of bhav and prem arising from Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti. This fundamental difference is the distinctive trait of the line of thought of the Sri Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas, as expressed in this statement from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 3 verses 15 through 17. Here he's stating, Sakala jagate more kore vidhi bhakti, vidhi bhakti vraja bhava paite nahi shakti. Aishwarya gyane te sab jagata mishrita, Aishwarya shitila preme nahi mor prita. Aishwarya gyane vidhi bhajan koriya, Vaikuntake jaya chatur vidha mukti paya. So here is our authority of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying in the voice of Krishna himself in this chapter 3, Adi Leela, 15 through 17. Krishna himself is expressing this. What is he telling? Krishna says, everywhere in the world, Sakala Jagate, everywhere in the world, people worship me according to the scriptural injunctions. What is that called? Sakala Jagate more kore vidhi bhakti. Vidhi bhakti means Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. So then he says, but simply by following such regulated principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of my exalted devotees in Braj. Vidhi bhakti vraj bhav paite nahi shakti. It does not have the shakti. It does not have the power to enable one to attain these vraj bhav moods of the eternal associates in Braj. No. Which does not have the power to do that? What does not have the power to do that? Yeah. This is the direct statement of Chaitanya Charitamrita. That Aishwarya Gyan, that's the next shloka. Aishwarya Jnanete Sat Jagat Mishrita. That means that the whole entire world, Sat Jagat, the whole entire world worships me in a mood of awe and veneration. Do Muslims worship? Yes. Allah Akbar. Do Christians worship? Yes. God is great. All are, we're everywhere in the entire Jagat. People are worshiping the Supreme Absolute Truth, God, whatever name they have for calling Him. And they're aware of His what? His majesty, of His supremacy, of His Aishwarya. So he says, Krishna is saying, in this way, everyone who worships me in this mood of awe and veneration, they are worshipping me and they are aware, they are conscious that I am the Supreme Absolute Personality of Godhead. So, he says, that type of worship, that type of love that is weakened, it becomes weak by such reverence, it does not give me any pleasure, Krishna says. Aishwarya Shitila Prema. Shitila Prema means prema that is weakened by our Aishwarya. Nahi more prita. It cannot give me satisfaction, Krishna says. So, then he says, Aishwarya Jnane Vidhi Bhajan Koriya. So, those who worship me according to scriptural injunctions, Vidhi Bhajan Koriya, and they worship me in a mood predominated by awe and veneration, Aishwarya Jnana, where do they go? Vaikuntake Jai Chatur Vidha Mukti Paya. Where do they go? Vaikuntake. They go to Vaikunta. And they obtain the 4 kinds of liberation in Vaikunta. Chatur Vidha Mukti Paya. So, this is the praman, the evidence, that by practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, no one can go to Braj. They will end up in Vaikuntha. You were asking the other day about the difference between what is Raganuga Bhakti, what is Vaidhi Bhakti, and so forth. We're reading the preface of Manasika Maharaj, and he's quoting from the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, wherein Krishna is telling, doesn't actually, yes, because he's the object of their praying in Aishwarya Jnana. But Krishna of Braj, he's never satisfied by being worshipped in the mood of Aishwarya. Okay, so now, Gurudev is saying that a deep attachment that is permeated by spontaneous and intense absorption in the object of one's affection, that deep attachment permeated by spontaneous and intense absorption in the object of one's affection, what is that called? It's called rag. Rag. Spontaneous, intense absorption in Krishna, the object of one's affection. So devotion unto Krishna that is saturated with this deep attachment is known as ragatmik bhakti. Ragatmik bhakti. And the devotion that follows in the wake of ragatmik bhakti is called raganuga bhakti. The greed to obtain the mood of the Lord's ragatmik devotees, this greed is the sole qualification for raganuga bhakti. that we've read about in the Bhakti Tattva Viveka. We went through that top to bottom, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So the practitioners of such Raganuga Bhakti, they should always reside in Braj. Anyone who wants to practice Raganuga Bhakti, they must reside in Braj. How? How to reside in Braj? By means of both the physical body and the internally contemplated spiritual body that is suitable to carry out the service to Sri Krishna for which one anxiously aspires. One should always remember Sri Krishna and his beloved gopis of Braj, and one should constantly serve Sri Radha and Krishna. So, here it is telling that the practitioners of such Raganuga Bhakti should always reside in Braj. In two ways. In the physical body, like we are doing now. This Navadvip Dham is also hidden in Braj. We are residing here in physical body. But actual residence is not just in the physical body. If that were the case, then any of the human beings who are here are actually in Braj. But if somebody's living in a foreign land, far, far away from the Braj Mandala or the Navadvip Dham that has manifested on our earth planet, they're not physically here, they are far away. Give an example. My Srila Prabhupada, who came to the West. We can say he left Braj to come to the West. But did he actually leave Braj? Internally? Never. Never. Our Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj, he traveled outside of India in his final 15 years. In those 15 years, he traversed the entire world. Back and forth, many, many times. So, was he in Braj while he was residing in those places? What's the answer? I'm asking this question. Was he in Braj?
Yes.
Yes? How? He had left Braj.
It's not because, like in our case, me, I can stay in Braj, but actually I'm not in Braj because my mind is in different place. The opposite case can stay even in different universe. His concentration will be in Braj. Will always will be in Braj until Braj.
Yes, because as we just read, that is suitable to carry out the service to Sri Krishna, for which one anxiously aspires. That is the other way. The physical body and the internally conceived spiritual body. So one who has realized his internal spiritual body, which means his Siddha Deha, and that is realized only in the stage of Bhav Bhakti. Only in that stage one can realize fully their internal spiritual body. And in that internal spiritual body, what are they doing as Raganuga Bhaktas? They are serving Radha and Krishna internally in their eternal eightfold daily pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan, which have 8 different time periods of the 24 hours. And they're serving because in their internal body of being a gopi, or even some can also be cowherd boy like this, but in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our acharyas are all gopis, all of them. And they have shown This book, Manasiksha, that we are about to study, is the demonstration of Raghunath Das Goswami to the jivas, especially to those who are actually qualified to follow this path of Raganuga Bhakti. So now Srila Narayan Maharaj is pointing out that while a person is continuously residing in Braj, under the guidance of Rasik devotees, who are deeply immersed in the mood of Braja, then one should hear, chant, and remember the names, the forms, the pastimes, the qualities of Sri Krishna. That's what one should do, under the guidance of Rasik devotees. Hearing, chanting, remembering the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Sri Krishna. So this is the method of bhajan for devotees. This is the method of bhajan for devotees who are traversing the path of Raga Nuga Bhakti. Out of all the limbs of devotion, such as hearing, chanting, that have been described in relation to Vaidhi Bhakti, those which are favorable to the development of one's particular disposition, they may also be accepted on the path of Raganuga sadhana. So this means that we already discussed this point earlier today, that those who are actually qualified to practice Raganuga sadhana bhakti, they will also practice outwardly the limbs of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, which are favorable to the development of their particular moods, their disposition. They may also be able to know that by following the instructions that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to the jivas of this world, what will happen? It's essential to know that by following these instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he gave to the jivas of this world, a strong yearning to pursue the path of Raganuga will suddenly awaken in the sadhak's heart. Yeah. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed, what he gave to the jivas of this world, if someone follows that a strong heart. Sri Chaitanya Dev, what did he personally practice? What did he personally practice? What did he propagate? Sri Chaitanya Dev personally practiced and propagated and tasted only that bhajan which is undertaken via the path of spontaneous devotion, Rag Marg. That's what he propagated. That's what he practiced. The Rag Marg pathway of devotion. So if by great fortune the jivas obtain the association of the beloved associates of Sri Gauranga Dev, if the jivas are so fortunate to attain the association of the beloved associates of Sri Gauranga Dev, then they will certainly develop greed for association. Until that time, then most sadhaks adopt the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, which certainly must be done. Certainly must be done. So by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Dev, one will inevitably enter into Rag Marg. What did you hear those words? Inevitable. By taking shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Dev, one will inevitably enter into Rag Marg. The sadhakas who are eagerly desirous of entering Rag Marg, they must first practice the sadhana of Raganuga Bhakti. They must first practice that sadhana. The qualification now that is required for Raganuga Bhakti is extremely high. And when greed actually develops towards the mood of the eternal residents of Braj, then one loses his taste for the things of this world, and one obtains release from the pious and sinful activities, fruit of action, karma, inaction, akarma, prohibited action, vikarma, non-devotional renunciation, vairagya, the cultivation of knowledge aimed at impersonal liberation, jnana, and the attraction for the practice of mystic yoga. Did you hear that list? Did you hear that list? This is the list of all the things of this world and all of the pious and sinful activities and the different actions of karma, akarma, vikarma, vairagya, jnana. The devotee will lose his taste. He'll lose his taste for the things of this world. And he will obtain release from all of these other things, pious and sinful activities, fruit of action, etc. Yeah. Because Gurudev just told that the qualification that is required for Raganuga Bhakti is extremely high. And when greed actually develops towards the mood of the eternal residents, by practicing Raganuga Bhakti, when that actually develops, one obtains release from pious and sinful activities and all the other. Automatically, he loses his taste for the things of this world. Now, in Vaidhi Marg, in practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, one first develops faith, Shraddha, and then one acquires the association of devotees, sadhu sangha. And then, by practice of bhajan, one is released from the impediments to spiritual advancement, which are called anarthas. And then gradually, one then develops resolute steadiness, which is called nishtha, resolute steadiness. Then strong taste, ruchi. Then firm attachment, asakti. And finally, ecstatic emotion, bhav. By this system, bhav is obtained after a very long time. Which system? By following Vidhi Marg, Vaidhi Bhakti. Bhav is obtained after a very long time. But when greed develops, all anarthas are very easily destroyed because of the absence of hankering for material sense enjoyment. In other words, if someone's hankering for material sense enjoyment, then his anarthas will not easily be destroyed. No, not easily be destroyed. But when greed develops, then all anarthas are very easily destroyed. Why? Because of the absence of hankering for material sense enjoyment. The bhav also arises concomitantly with this greed. Bhav arises concomitantly with this greed. So in Rag Marg, however, in Rag Marg, it is essential to cast off all falsity, all deceit, and desire for prestige. In which marg? Rag Marg. It's essential to cast off all falsity, all deceit, all desire for prestige. if one does not do so. What happens if one does not do so? If one does not do what? If one does not cast off all falsity, deceit, and desire for prestige. So, if one does not do so, anarthas will increase. Anarthas will increase. And one will be dangerously deviated. So in other words, even with this greed, in Raga Marg, there is a necessity to cast off all falsity. That's what we're going to be hearing from Raghunath Das Goswami. All falsity, deceitfulness, hypocrisy, desire for prestige, all. And if one does not do so, anarthas will increase and one will be dangerously deviated. In this event, debased attachment, rag, will be mistaken for vishuddha rag, pure attachment. I'm reading that again. If one does not do so, anarthas will increase and one will be dangerously deviated. And in this event, debased attachment, raga, will be mistaken for vishuddha rag, pure attachment. And gradually the sadhak's material association will increase and he will fall down. Very serious. So what did we just read? I want you to repeat. Did you catch what we just read? Then pull the mic to you and tell.
Firstly, when we going by Vaidhi Bhakti this way, it will be attain it will be very long time to attain this power.
In the Vaidhi Bhakti.
Vaidhi Bhakti. But if we have way Raganuga Bhakti, it will be very fast. It will be very fast to attain. And this anartha destroyed quickly. Anartha in this way. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he emphasized it. We should, Sri Narayana Goswami Maharaj, he said in this preface, we should give up our fame, prestige, and so forth. Because if we have this, our anarchy will be increased and we go out from this way. Because this duplicity and so forth, these qualities are very dangerous in the Raganuga Bhakti.
Yes, and he says that if that is done, in other words, that one does not cast off this deceitfulness, hypocrisy, desire for pratishta and so forth, then the anarthas will increase and one will be deviated. In this event, when that happens, then there is another type of rag, which is called mundane rag, debased attachment. It will be mistaken for vishuddha rag, for pure attachment. And when that is done, then the sadhak's material association will increase and he will fall down. So here, Gurudeva is finalizing. Here the meaning of Raganuga Bhakti is actually Rupanuga Bhakti. Because without becoming Rupanuga, a follower of Sri Rupa Goswami, it is impossible to enter the path of Rag-atmik Bhakti. But if by some great fortune a person develops an intense desire to enter the path of Raganuga Bhakti, yes, by some great fortune, a person develops an intense desire to enter the path of Raganuga Bhakti, then one should certainly study and follow this Manasiksha of Sri Das Goswami, who is the principal follower of Sri Goswami. This is the preface. Are there any questions or comments thus far before we read the short life history of Raghunath Das Goswami and of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Any questions or comments?
What about reading earlier the verses from the Chaitanya Aishwarya? What about those who worship Krishna but with inviting bhakti? Where do they go? Do they all just
Yeah, that's a good question, because he's asking about the people who are spoken about in this verse, Chaitanya Charitamrita, that by Aishwarya will inevitably end up going to Vaikuntha. So, this is the words of Lord Krishna in that third chapter of Adi Lila that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting. So the question is being asked that if someone is worshipping Krishna, not Vishnu, not Lord Narayan, like this, they're worshipping Krishna, but they have this Aishwarya Gyan, then where will they end up, right? What will be their destination? If they're on the pathway of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and they have Aishwarya Gyan mood, and they're worshipping Radha and Krishna in the temple, right? And Radha and Krishna are their deity. So, will they end up in Vaikuntha? Right? That's the question. So, what do you think is the answer?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Srila Swami Maharaj had a conversation with GBC.
He had a what with them?
He had conversation.
Conversation?
With GBC
Okay.
devotees ISKCON. They discussed about this topic very detailed. He said, Srila Maharaj, he said, it depends on does his devotee have greed on, and depends on does he have association with Rasika Vaishnavas. Depends on these subjects, he will attain Galoka or Dwaraka. Galoka means Radha and Krishna, this place, they merit. And Dwaraka, it is, no, you know everybody.
Yeah, it is on the outer part of Goloka Vrindavan. Mathura, Dwaraka. This is not in Vaikuntha, this is actually in Goloka.
Yes, Galoka with Aishwarya Mut.
With Aishwarya Mut. There is some understanding. If somebody is in Mathura or Dwarka, sometimes they see they are aware, the Dwarkavasis and the Mathuravasis, they're aware that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even Krishna's own parents in Mathura, namely Devaki and Vasudeva, they're also aware. They have some degree of awareness and some degree of mood They're aware of that. But yet they have some mood towards Krishna that he is our son. But which Krishna is the question? Which Krishna? Is it the Krishna of Braj, the son of Nanda Maharaj or Mother Yashoda? Huh? Is it that Krishna that has taken birth from the womb of Devaki? No, it is not that Krishna. That Krishna is the eternal Lord in the spiritual world. That Krishna is the Mathura Krishna, Mathuresh Krishna, is the Vasudeva expansion of the Braja Krishna. He's the expansion. So therefore, by those who worship that form of Krishna with some Aishwarya Gyan, they cannot attain their spiritual form in Braja, but they attain their spiritual form in Mathura or Dwarka. So, but in answer to your question, here it's telling in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the word Vaikuntha is being used. Then your question is, if we're worshipping Krishna with Aishwarya Gyan. So, but it doesn't actually say that they're worshipping Lord Narayan in that quotation from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It does not mention that they're worshipping Lord Narayan. It's just said by Krishna that they're worshipping me with Aishwarya mood. Krishna is telling. No. No. Vaikuntake Jaya Chaturvidha Muktipaya. Chaturvidha Muktipaya means they attain the 4 types of liberation. You see. So Aishwarya Jnane Vidhi Bhajan Koriya. If someone in his bhajan, he has this knowledge, Aishwarya Jnana, that Vaikuntake Jai Chaturvidha Muktipaya. Then in that mood, predominated by awe and veneration, he goes to Vaikuntha and he obtains the 4 kinds of liberation. Now, are those 4 types of liberation attainable in Dwarka, in Mathura, in Vraj? Yes. But you cannot have that rasa with Krishna in Braj by worshipping him with Aishwarya Gyan, because none of the Brijavasis have any tinge whatsoever of Aishwarya Gyan in their worship. Their worship is full of the most sweet moods, madhuryas, and worshipping Krishna as their friend in their particular relationship, in their particular rasa. That's what is there in Goloka Vrindavan. In the Braj section, in the whorl of the lotus flower, there Radha and Krishna's Braj Leelas are manifested. But in the outward petals, then there are the other Mathura, Dwarka, and so forth. They are not there in the whorl of the lotus flower. So, the answer to the question is that if somebody is worshipping Krishna, but they have some Aishwarya Gyan mood towards Krishna, which after all is quite normal for those who are beginning their practice of worshipping Krishna in the beginning stages in this life. And they adopt the pathway of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. But they're hearing all the time from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita, and so forth, and from the Rasik Mahabhagavad Rupanuga Vaishnavacharyas. So, like, for example, again, we'll refer to the quotation when Srila Gurudev that lecture. We read that lecture. That Gurudev was explaining that Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj came to teach everyone, all throughout the whole world, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the absolute truth. He is the source of everything, and therefore Prabhupada preached continually Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita as the authority. Krishna is God. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am the source of everything. But if one wants to try to go to Braj in the transcendental world, to enter into that section of Goloka Vrindavan, then it's very essential to cultivate the moods of spontaneous devotion without any tinge at all of Aishwarya Gyan, right? To cultivate those moods. And therefore Srila Gurudev said that yes, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he had to do that. He had to make a platform. He had to make a foundation for the entire world to come into the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we've been reading right here in this preface that the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is actually the pathway of spontaneous devotion, not sadhana, not Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. The line of Mahaprabhu and what he himself practiced, what he himself preached, and so forth, is only the line of Ragamarg, not of Vaidhi. So, those who are in the association, in the different institutions which are promoting the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially the teachings of Mahaprabhu in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, if they are fortunate and they're associating with Rasik Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas, then gradually this attraction and greed will come. For having relationship with Krishna, to have our own relationship with Krishna as the Brijvasis have. When we hear about their moods and their relationship with Krishna, we say, oh, how sweet, how wonderful, I want to also have this. I want to be like that. So, in this line, a person will be continually hearing that Krishna in this Kali Yuga, he has descended in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the combined form of Radha and Krishna, and he's continually intoxicated in prem, in the Unnata Ujjvala prem of Srimati Radhika. That's who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. So in this line, it is somewhat inevitable by this association. If not in this life, in the next life, or the next life following that, by this association, one will attain this ultimate destination of Braja. So the question, like for example, there's so many devotees all over the world. Many of them have been practicing. But have they developed greed yet to follow this path? No, they have not. They have not developed greed yet. Are they following the teachings of Mahaprabhu? Are they becoming more well-versed in what the teachings of Mahaprabhu, how he taught the 6 Goswamis, what was the conversation between Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all of these topics. So these devotees, all the devotees throughout the world who have been so fortunate, they've come into contact with the pure Vaishnavas of this Gaudiya Rupanuga Sampradaya. and they've come in contact with their books, with their teachings. And there has also been opportunity to come in contact with actual realized Vaishnavas who have attained these stages of perfection. And they have been reading the Krishna book. Why did Prabhupada give the Krishna book? Because so that they will become, gradually they'll become qualified to enter into the Ragamarg of Bhakti. But this is very high and very rare. This is what we just read from Srila Gurudev. So, I just want to skip to the end of this because there Srila Gurudev makes a very important point, and he says, that I am fully confident that devotees who have a deep yearning for bhakti, and particularly practitioners of Raganuga Bhakti, who covet the dust of Vrindavan, they covet in their heart the dust of Vrindavan. I am fully confident they will have a tremendous appreciation for this book. Faithful persons who study this book, they will obtain qualification to enter into the praying dharma of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in conclusion, may our most worshipful spiritual master, who is the concentrated manifestation of the Lord's compassion, may he pour down a profuse shower of mercy upon us, thus enabling us to attain greater and greater eligibility in fulfilling the inner longing of his heart. This is our anxious, heartfelt prayer at his lotus feet, which bestow Krishna praying. So in this way, we'll complete our class here. In our next class, which will be on Tuesday. In our next class on Tuesday, then we will complete this short biographies of Raghunath Das Goswami and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we'll begin on the first shloka of Sri Manasiksha. So, I'm just checking the calendar again. Yes, so actually Ekadasi, today is Sunday the 2nd, and Ekadasi is tomorrow. Apara Ekadasi is tomorrow. And also the appearance day of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. So then on Tuesday, on Tuesday our class will be on Tuesday. And on Thursday, it is Amavasya, but there is no appearance or any days like that. Neither is there on Sunday, neither is there on the following week on next Tuesday and Thursday. But coming up at the end of the following week, what is there? On the Sunday, there is Ganga Dashahara, Ganga Puja, Ganga Devi, the appearance day of Ganga Devi, and the appearance day of Ganga Mata Goswamini. And we will have class on that very Sunday. So this is the schedule: Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. For last Sunday, on the 16th, then there will be some Katha about these personalities. Yes, and then following that, on the following next week's Saturday, so that's nearly 3 weeks from today, that will be Purnima. And that Purnima, there will be the Snana Yatra of Lord Jagannath on that day. Snana Yatra. That comes on a Saturday. So we will probably have the class on that Saturday rather than on the Sunday. And then after that comes Rath Yatra on the 7th of July. And then on the 21st of July is the next Guru Purnima. The next Purnima, and it's Guru Purnima. And that begins Chaturmas. So our full moon day at the present time is on is on the 22nd of June. 22nd of June. Snana Yatra of Lord Jagannath. So that's our next Purnima. So that's actually about 3 weeks from today. Okay, no further questions or comments. Was that satisfactory answer? More or less. Yeah. Coming into this line, it's pretty much inevitable that we will develop our attraction if we're actually hearing and chanting and following this line, the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our Rupanuga Acharyas. Although we know, because we're not on this spontaneous level of Raganuga yet, but we know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We are aware of that, obviously. And of course, even great acharyas who have preached in this world, like Srila Narayan Maharaj, they've gone the length and the breadth of the world. And they've also taught these things. But their objective was to give the moods of Braj. But in doing so, so many newcomers are coming and so forth. And there has to also be this same education has to come by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Because what is Srimad Bhagavatam? It's the exposition by Vyasadeva of Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. That Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, from whom all the other forms, all the expansions, incarnations, they're all coming from him, but he is the only one who can be called Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna himself. So in this line, we are learning that. But by hearing his pastimes in the association of elevated advanced Vaishnavas, who also relish and have the internal moods of the residents of Braja, then gradually, that can touch our hearts. We can be affected by that. And there will not be a danger of going to Vaikuntha. Because, why? Because we're not worshipping Lord Narayan. He is not our Ishtadeva, right? Neither are we even worshipping Lord Ramachandra. We're not worshipping. He's not our Ishtadeva. We worship him as incarnation of Krishna. But he is not our Ishtadeva. So in the Gaudiya line, only Krishna in Braj is our Ishtadeva. You know, it's interesting because just the last couple of days I've been moving forward and reading the book of our god sister, Shri Govindadasi, Srimati Govindadasi. Very nicely, it happened to her and saw all the other devotees, that he was bringing them gradually to more clear understanding, gradually. And this is when he had to preach the very basic philosophy. He had to even preach to Christians and so forth. So, but we've gone through the same experience in our lives, that somehow or other we came into this pathway. And then we were exposed to all of this knowledge, information, high association, and gradually we were able to embrace this pathway fully. Yeah? That Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna combined. And Radha and Krishna, they are Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So with such Ishtadeva, and hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, as also was written in the preface, hearing from Brihad Bhagavatamrita, hearing from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, like that, Ujjvala Nilamani. So this is our course. But the course, it will have to be traversed according to our eligibility. According to our eligibility, we will have to traverse this gradual course. And that eligibility will increase and will gradually be modified into eligibility for the pathway of Ragamarg Bhakti. That we should know. But the vast majority of devotees throughout the world they do not have that eligibility. But they can hear. They can hear about Krishna's pastimes. They can hear about these moods of Vraja. And this is the reason why Srila Narayan Maharaj came. That's the reason why Srila Prabhupada gave the Krishna book. And that's the reason why now the continuation of the translation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and even further translations of the commentaries of the Rupanuga Acharyas, such as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and others. That's all continued. So if someone is in such good association, then it's inevitable that they will understand that I want only Krishna. And not only Krishna, I want only Krishna, who is the son of Maharaj Nanda and Mother Yashoda. That's why Aradhyo Bhagavan Rajesha Tanayas Taddama Vrindavana. That verse is written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. That this is Mahaprabhu. So anyone in this line will again and again and again be reminded and informed about that. Okay, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Shri Manasiksha Ki Jai, Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Pada Ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Rupanuga Guru Acharya Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Giri Varadari, Jaya Giri Varadari. Jaya Yashoda Nandana, Jaya Jaya Muna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Namaste Hari Hari Bol. Om Brindai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Pacitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo